right? You'll have to go and find someone else. And second, if it did happen, that they didn't really need for anything anymore. Now, medieval people, I would say at least, they were a bit more resourceful than we are today. They always found a use for it. And they started using these big holes in the middle of the ground as big trash cans to throw they needed, which is good for them, right? But it's good for us today as well, because historians or archaeologists can tell a lot about a medieval either individual or household or society, based on what they threw away a couple hundred years ago. And if they threw it away into the wells, or if they did throw away, it had a tendency to get preserved better than if they left it, anywhere else. So, for example, if they threw away human bones, we can make a good picture of what those people looked like. We can make kind of educated guesses or assumptions about, their kind of lifestyle, what kind of things they ate. If they threw away animal bones, we can tell something about the animals they kept, or even items like clothing. I suppose today, it's easy enough for anybody to go to the closest Primark or whatever and buy like a purple t-shirt for, €3-4, right? In medieval times, so certain colours like blue, but especially purple, were very expensive and very difficult to get. So if we find that someone had them and threw them away, then again, or historians can make a kind of educated guess or an assumption about that individual's wealth, about their status in society at the time, which I think is quite interesting. Think about how much we assume about people based on what they threw away a couple hundred years ago. I think it's even more interesting, maybe a couple hundred years from today, when people find out things that we throw away, will they make the right kind of assumption about our society and what we do with those things, right? And I'd like to give an example. Have you guys seen the little green electric scooters in the streets? Right, Lime scooters or ball scooters, they're everywhere, right? You can't not see them. Locals, do you have them where you guys live? Yeah, I don't know how it is where you live, but here, locals, we really don't like them. We really don't, and there's a thing that locals do, usually when we get drunk, and I haven't done it, right? But I have seen it done. What we do is we take the scooters and we throw them in the river, right? There's probably tens, maybe hundreds of scooters at the bottom of the Tower River, which is kind of funny, maybe a bit sad as well, it's not very eco-friendly, but it's interesting because when historians maybe find those scooters one day, you have to ask, will they make the right kind of assumption to why they just found hundreds of little green electric scooters at the bottom of the Tower River, which might be really difficult for them, because honestly, I don't even know why we don't like them so much. They're annoying, I guess, they get in the way, there's so many of them, so our solution is take them from the river, which again might be very difficult for historians to kind of figure that one out. One more thing I want to point out. This level over here was the 2002. I talked about how the Little Tower River floods very often, right? The last big flood was in 2002. This was the waterside of that flood. Now, the renovations for this area along this underground cost about 75 million crowns. It's about €3 million. Luckily, though, by 2004, the Czech Republic.
Később csak akarok, hogyha akár